Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Session Zero arriving in film. What? Yes, in my humble opinion, Session Zero has migrated from Dungeons and Dragons directly to American film. So let me give you my argument for this being the case. So I was shocked when I saw this. I had never really seen anything like this in my entire life. And basically, so what happened? It's really fascinating what actually happened. So the film is The Wonder it's called The Wonder, and it came out on Netflix. It just dropped last week, and I think it is the first first film ever, international film or American. But generally things happen in America first, and then they go to the rest of the world. The coolest stuff, the stuff that matters, in my humble opinion. And actually, you know what? I'm more than willing to hear, like, if there are themes that are coming from other nations and America's adopting them, I don't see it much. So I'd love to, if they're happening and I'm missing them, send them my way. Put them in the comments. I'd appreciate that, right? And so yeah, so it was really fascinating. You have this incredibly, exciting occurrence where something from Dungeons and Dragons comes straight over into the mainstream, right? Now, first of all, I can hear you already. You're like, Scott, Session Zero didn't start in D&D. That's correct. That's correct. It started in the indie tabletop role-playing game, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter that indie tabletop role-playing games started Session Zero. Session Zero didn't matter until it hit Dungeons and Dragons, and here's why. A lot of people don't know this, but there are platforms that make things matter, right? So, a perfect example of this would be, here you go. So, Mythic Quest. Mythic Quest is a show over on Apple.
Apple?
Yes, thank you.
Have a good one.
So, Mythic Quest is a show that happened over on Apple. And it was really, really, fascinating. When Mythic Quest is a brilliant, brilliant show. Okay, you ain't never going to see it on Apple, and the reason why is you ain't got Apple. Nobody got Apple. You know who has Apple? Steve Jobs and his mom. That's it. That's it, right? So how did I get to see Mythic Quest? I had a 3-month free period on Apple, and it was fantastic. I loved seeing the shows on Apple. And Mythic Quest was my favorite. The favorite show I saw on Apple. Mythic Quest won't matter until it releases on Netflix, right? This is a perfect example of this is Avatar. Avatar: The Last Airbender. That thing it bounced around on a few scrub streamers, right, for a long time. It was on Nickelodeon. It didn't matter until it hit Netflix, and then it blew up, and literally, this isn't a joke, 100 million people watched it, and it mattered overnight, right? Same thing with Session Zero. It came from, I don't even know what indie, invented it. It doesn't matter what indie invented it. It mattered when it hit, when a real platform pulled it in and made it useful. Session Zero arrived. Session Zero was real the moment it dropped into Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. That's a D&D canon hardback. You put something in the D&D canon hardback, the whole world will listen, right? You put something in the core release of the biggest OSR product or the biggest indie product, nobody will care. Nobody will know, right? This isn't a joke. D&D errata gets more coverage than a top tier OSR brand new core rulebook or indie core rulebook. It's just the shape of the world, right? So basically, Session Zero was brought to the world by Dungeons and Dragons, okay, in Tasha's. At this point, I think it then migrated to American film, beginning with The Wonder. So let's talk about The Wonder. What is The Wonder? The Wonder, there's no spoilers for The Wonder in this, so you can listen freely. So The Wonder is a movie. It is a historical period movie starring Florence Pugh. Who's Florence Pugh? If you don't know Florence Pugh, she is the ingenue of today. She is the female rising star in America today. Her big films are, she was in Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson, and pretty much, if you were watching that, they're like, yeah, Scarlett Johansson, she probably ain't gonna be Black Widow very long. Florence Pugh, she could take it right over, right? And so, pretty much Florence Pugh was brought in to say, hey, we know you're worried that Scarlett Johansson she ain't gonna be playing Black Widow much longer. We all know that. But we're here to assure you there's a new Black Widow in the wings, right? And it's exciting. Like, she's incredible. She really is an incredible actress, okay? She also was in Midsummer, and she was phenomenal in Midsummer. So check out Black Widow or check out Midsummer to see Florence Pugh's amazing work. She is an amazing actress. And so she's in this movie called The Wonder, right? Well, so I turn on The Wonder, and the only reason and this is a 18th century, England movie. I don't want to see some historical film about 18th century England. So the only reason I turn this movie on is I'm a huge fan of Florence. I'm a huge Hollywood fan, and I'll tell you right now, Florence Pugh is the female future of Hollywood. She is the template. Incredible talent, and then the charisma to carry it forward, right? And she's really an amazing talent, and you should really see. You can see all our films but one. I ain't gonna tell you the one you can't see. If you know D&D and you watch this channel, you'll know the one. Okay, all right. So basically, she is an incredible talent. So I turned it on. I'm like, Florence Pugh, I'm in, done, let's go, click, right? So the movie starts, and you know what they do? It starts with a scene, and it shows the stage, the sound stage, the visual stage, the stage where the movie is being created, and there's buildings on scaffolding, right? And the movie is started, the movie is rolling, and they scroll in and they say, hey, here's the, and so they visually show you where the story is being created. And then a narrator comes in, who I think is Florence Pugh, and she says, the characters in this care deeply about the story you're about to see. And you're like, the characters? What she really means is the actors, right? She's conflating character and actor, right? Because she's saying these actors are so deep in these roles that they have taken on the life of these characters, right? And she's saying, and then she continues, says, this is a story. We're going to tell you this story. The people and the characters involved believe in this story, and the power of story is real, and we are going to go on a journey together. And I was like, wait, what just happened, right? So this is in the movie, and it is the movie, like, this would generally be in, like, DVD extras. And anybody who likes to film would skip it. They would never see this part, right? But Hollywood is saying, hey, we're telling a story here, right? We care about it deeply. We want you to care about it. And they are doing what Gary drew every single human to in 1974. He created this. He's saying, no more. Gary Gygax in 1974 said, stop. You are the creator. The person on the other side is the experiencer. Your art is incomplete without them. They are part of what is happening. And he was saying, no, we can't do this anymore. We have to acknowledge the person on the other side. And he did that with literally every motion in Dungeons & Dragons. He said, we will never again tell a story where the experiencer is alienated. The experiencer has the right and the privilege to change every single thing that happens in this story. And Gary Gygax rejected all human narrative that had come before, and said, the artist will create, the experiencer will create, and both will be interrupted by fate itself, exactly as life instructs us, right? And this movie, in my humble opinion, I think, and just so you're aware, every screenwriter in Hollywood is aware of Dungeons & Dragons, and they follow it meticulously, because it is the future of human narrative. In my humble opinion, the impact of Dungeons & Dragons on the video game industry and Hollywood cannot be understated. And this, in my humble opinion, what happened in Wonder, is the first Session Zero ever to show up in American film. And this is, in my humble opinion, Dungeons & Dragons crafting the future of Hollywood. All that is my humble opinion, and I'm ready to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.